Oh, there you go. Alright, let's turn down the...
Yeah!
Borges is
angry.
I may require maintenance after all.
Alright, just gonna head into a mission to start off with.
The Nior are attempting to clear this forest by poisoning the soil. You are here to sabotage their efforts. Start with the toxin mixer. My intel suggests there are rich enemy supply caches in the area, but I'm unable to pinpoint their exact location.
You should be able
Search
to
them
see
out
the
if you are
mission
willing
now.
to shoulder the added risk.
Alright, cool. I'm just jumping around in the same area. I think it's about a 10-second delay. Alright, so one of the big things that, I don't know if you were in the conversation when I was talking to Johnny about it, but it's what I would say really important about the melee. It's fine for us to be, well, no, actually, that was the other thing I want to say, is that there are no animation locks in this game at all. The only animation lock there is when you switch to gun. But we don't have a class currently that does that, but if we ever do, like, you know, we have someone who's like a dual threat, one range, it has like is like a ranged and a melee kind of guy. That's the only thing that would be animation locked. Is that you can't switch to your gun until you're done your melee combo. We do not want them to be able to animation cancel that, because that's just a little weird. Like, if you couldn't literally, like, slash and immediately cancel that and shoot, like, the output of damage would be a little insane, and it would feel a little bit, like, it wouldn't aesthetically look good anyways. Like, aesthetically, it'd be kind of weird if you slash and shoot, slash, shoot, like, you would be canceling every second, every, like, half a second, and, like, it would look weird, and I wouldn't want it. Yeah, like, no, yeah, we won't do any balancing based on that, because they just won't be able to do it, and it'll be a very niche thing. It's only if we ever eventually come up with a thing that will do melee and ranged at the same time. But, I mean, that's, like, down the road. It's just, like, a note to make. No. Yep, it's just like a reminder, as in, like, hey, look, this is what Warframe does not do. We're not going to do that. No, we do not. No, you are not animation. So what's really cool about Warframe, now you'll notice, right? So I'll catch up here. You'll catch up in just a second. I should be facing my character. So you should be able to see my character as a whole in just a second. I'll be standing still, and let me know when you catch up to that. Yep. Well, if you're locked in, that means you have to finish the animation before you can move on to another action of any sort. So, like, for example, right, you should catch up here in just a second. I'm going to swing and then hold the trigger down immediately. I'm going to press circle and then immediately L2. Okay, now you'll catch up here in just a second. You'll notice that, like, if I hit circle and immediately aim, I have to finish my animation swing, so I'm locked in that animation until the end of the animation, then I aim downscope. Did you get to that point? Res somebody. No. Are you... Oh, are you watching one of the, like, random old ones? I'm like, yeah, damn, you should be catching up at some point in time, but okay. It's all the exact same. Yeah, sure. Alright, I should be facing my, like, the camera should be facing into my character. Alright, so, I'm going to hit circle and immediately aim. And you'll see what I mean by animation locking. You should have just seen it probably about now. I should... No, because I'm not canceling the melee animation, because I can't. I'm stuck in that animation until it's done, and then I switch over to the gun. Animation canceling is when in the middle of that animation. So, for example, I will do my melee combo here right now, and so you have about 10-second delay, and then I'm going to dodge. I'm going to roll right in the middle of it. Alright, I just did it, so... You'll notice that I was swiping, and then all of a sudden I did a back somersault. To cancel. Yes, that's canceling. What I did before was animation lock, because I was locked in the animation until I finished the animation. And that's all I was saying, is that if we do a ranged melee hybrid, switching between melee and range will be animation locked. Animation canceling will be throughout our entire game period, because the only other things the things we have similar to Warframe are we have melee or range, doesn't matter what it is, right? And you can use abilities or dodge in the middle of any of those animations. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You can always use an ability and you can always dodge. And we will have that. Yes, we will have animation canceling. Yes, we will have animation canceling. No, I was just making a note of like what Warframe does specifically in its cases. In its cases where you're using your melee, you want to switch to range, or you're using your range, you want to switch to melee, you have to finish whatever that animation is before you switch over to your other type of attack. Everything else is cancelable. Yes. Well, and consistency too. Like again, like imagine if I was sitting here like shooting immediately, like with like shooting and melee, shooting melee, like it would look stupid and the damage output would be higher, but it would just look janky. It wouldn't look right. It would just like you just want to nip that in the butt. You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah. Another thing they do is actually that needs to be slightly changed. Actually, they do animation locking. I didn't even notice that until just now. It's their they animation lock when you use your ability, which makes sense actually. It'd be a little weird if you could cancel your because yeah. So actually, there is animation. So. We should just revise this, actually. Let's just state what is fact, rather than what we want to, do/don't do. So, melee, so when you are melee, you can animation cancel into a dodge, or into an ability. That is a guarantee. Yes. Everything else is animation locked. Surprisingly enough. I didn't even notice that until, obviously we just, kind of made that statement, but it's absolutely true. Exactly. Well, yeah, like when I'm dodging, I can use an. I cannot. Oh, no, I can't use an ability. Yeah, so when you're dodging, you also cannot animation cancel. The reason why it's smooth is because everything is quick. So, and it's also inconsequential. I think that's also like another way to kind of think about it. It's very inconsequential, the fact that you can't animation cancel an enemy dice. Because at no point in time are you really how do I put it? So when using an ability, right? So like right now you'll see me get in front of a Grenier here in a second. I'm gonna use my fuck, I don't have any energy. Do I have any? Nope, didn't bring any of those in either. Okay, I'm having to find some fucking energy. GP runners. I got some energy, okay. So I'm going to use my ability. So the reason why is because anytime I'm using an ability, the ability itself is something that's going to deter them from doing the damage in the first place. So like for example, I just used my R1 circle ability, which is like a knockback like blade thing. Like that automatically knocks them, like it keeps them away from me as it is anyway, so there's no reason to animation cancel. Like I don't need to dodge out of something because I'm already blowing everything up that's in, I'm already hitting everything that's inside my circles. What, using my ability? Well, no, that's the thing, is that none of this can be cancelled. The only thing that can be cancelled is melee. And that's into an ability or into a dodge. That's it. Yep, other than that, everything is actually animation locked. Now, the trick is, I think when I think of the trick to that, is it's mainly just this, how do I put it? Like well, it's not necessarily the speed at which animation happens, it's that the animation, when I use that animation, is taking care of the problem that's currently at hand. Like I'm using... Exactly, well, because I'm using the ability that does that. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't... Like if I'm surrounded, I wouldn't use the ability. There's a sword ability that Excalibur has that you dash to an enemy and slice them, right? I'll use it here in just a second. I just found Kubro to use it on. So you just saw me like chain it into two Kubros in just a second. That was my one ability. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't use my one ability unless I was looking to do that. Other than that, I would use my AoE ability if I'm surrounded. Like, it's kind of more like an intuitive thing, as in like, the reason why you don't need an animation cancel is because you're using the ability for the correct situation. If you don't, then you feel like an idiot who just used the wrong ability. Nope. Warframe has never been clunky for me. And honestly, their melee was a little clunky, but they redid their melee system entirely into this new thing that you see now. Yeah. It used to be a little clunkier. Let's just put it this way, it never affected me. Like, I never thought, oh shit, I'm animation locked, I'm so pissed off. Now, like, for example, right, I have the new game Godfall that came out. I'm animation locked in some of that shit, and I'm pissed off. Like, it's very annoying I get animation locked in some of that. I think it's just because... it's not that it's shit, it's just it's average right now. Like, I think shit is like a strong word, like Anthem was shit. This is not Anthem. Does that make sense? Like, it's definitely not the worst game you'll ever play. It's not the best game you'll ever play either, but that's okay. Not every game has to be a 10 out of 10 in order to purchase it. You know what I mean? You can get some fun out of just like some, like, you know, a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 gameplay.
The mixer
Which is what I would rate.
toxin
I'd rate it
by
maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10.
biocatalyst.
Probably more towards 6 right now.
Remove
Maybe
the
with some
biocatalyst
updates
to
and
render
stuff like
the
that, some
toxin
quality of life
harmless.
changes. they'll boost up to a 7, but like right now I say it's a 6 out of 10. So yeah, I think the big thing that really helps is that your standard thing you use, right, your melee, right, it's animation locked, but it's not movement. It's not directional animation locked, which is, I think, the best thing about it, right? So, it's not directional locked, it's only animation locked. And what I mean by that is that during animations, while they do have some, like, so like you'll see me go on a chain combo here, right? Like I'm pushing forward, I'm moving in the direction I'm aiming, right? Like you'll see me, I'm just pressing circle, I'm not like pushing forward on the D-pad, on the stick. You'll see me just move forward as I'm attacking, right? Okay. The cool part about this is, right, even if I'm pushing in a direction, right, I'm running now in that direction. See how I'm still, like you'll see me going like my combo, I'm still doing my combo, but I'm doing it while running. It's almost like they have two animation sets. One for when you're running, and the other for when you're standing still. See, so like when I'm standing still, it's got all these like interesting, intricate footworks, but when I'm moving around, like my feet are actually running, doing the same animation up top, but not on the bottom. And I think that's what makes it so fluid to melee, is that, you know, if I'm attacking this way, but then all of a sudden an enemy comes behind me, I just turn. And I'm still using the same animation, but I turn my character 180 degrees to hit what's behind me. Which I think is really beneficial, because if I was stuck in, like, especially like with this one, I'm using one of the, it's like a blade and whip kind of combo. These have extremely long animations. Like, once you, like, really get into it, and, like, properly comboed, like, with the correct pauses and blah, blah, like, they have some really long-ass, like, chains, or, like, they have really long animations, because sometimes you'll hit with the sword and then throw out your chain part, and then your chain will do a couple, like, slashes and whips and then whip back to you, and that's really long. But the thing is if I'm attacking forward in the middle of that chain, I can still turn at the blink of an eye and get the guy behind me if that's who I need to attack with. I think that's what makes his melee so smooth. Well, I mean, nope. Well, I mean, range is pulling the trigger in a direction. You can't really, like, there's really no animation to that, per se. Yeah, because right now I pull out my shotgun, I mean, like, yeah, I'm shooting forward, and obviously if I turn the camera and I shoot backwards, like, I'll shoot backwards. So, it's, to guess, it is like that, but because there is no animation lock to a gun shot. Because it's instant. There is no, like, thing to it, if that makes sense. Obviously, when you're reloading, you can turn, you can't shoot while reloading. So yeah, I would say that's what makes the melee combat so fluid in this game, for the type of game it is that you can move, you can turn directions immediately to continue your attack while hitting other enemies. You're not stuck in the direction. So like in Godfall, for example, right? If I use my melee attack, I'm stuck facing forward until that animation is done. That's why people hate the fact that you can't animation cancel, because you're stuck in a direction. You lose control of your character. You never lose control of your character in Warframe. I think that's actually the better way to put it. You never lose control using basic movements in Warframe. When you're using abilities, you do lose control, but you're using an ability in a specific moment, so it's not a big deal to lose control over your character for that moment. Well, I mean, like, with the ability, obviously, like, so right now I'll use my AoE ability. You know, some of them you can move and use at the same time. Oh, actually, they changed that ability on him. Interesting. But the other one right here, like, I can't move at the same time, but that's okay. I can still turn my character, so that when I'm out of it, I'm moving in the direction I want to go. Yeah, but my character stops moving, that's okay, because the ability itself inherently leads to being okay to, like, not move for a second, because I'm already knocking people back and dealing damage, so it's not a big deal that I can't move. But all the other times, I'm in complete control of my character at all times. I never feel like I'm locked out and I've been stuck in a shitty situation unless I put myself in that shitty situation. Not, oh, I was animation locked going forward, and then I wanted to originate, so I wanted to swipe forward, but then I wanted to kill the guy behind me, but I hit the button too soon and I was already going forward, so I continued my chain forward. In the middle of my swing, I can turn my character immediately and hit the guy behind me if I need to.
Take care when destroying the biocatalyst cartridge. It is highly explosive. Good work. Now get to the injector.
And I think that's what makes it so smooth. Yeah. Yes, you want them to think it's their fault that they fucked up, not your fault. Yes, at all times you feel in control of your character.
Set the injector
Which
into
that should be
overdrive
at the
to
top of the
incinerate the
notes. Like,
toxin.
that should kind of lead into all these other things, because I mean that is the thing, is that you feel in control at all times.
The injector is now
Yes,
in
that
an
is
unstable overdrive. Keep the Grenier away when it melts down.
Yeah, I just think, like, obviously when people read it, they may or may not be slightly confused depending on how they read it. In this way, initially when you start off with, it's like, hey, you feel like you're in complete control of your character all the time, and they're like, oh, okay, so going forward, that's how I'm going to interpret all this. Exactly. And the thing is, if Alex reads that, and then for some reason feels like whatever we said is contradictory, she'll reach out to us being like, you told me the very first thing that you want to be in complete control, but this sounds like you don't want to be in complete control. Yeah, that's definitely on the animation. Ability-wise, controller scheme-wise, I gotta say the only thing I would definitely change the Warframe, is I think I would 100% go with R1 being the melee attack thing. Like, the only thing I don't...
destroyed a massive batch of Grenier toxin.
So the one thing I don't like about
it's
it's a moot point. Like, it's not that big of a deal because of the fact you can turn your character. Like, so it's not a huge deal in Warframe. But a quality of life thing, as long as you're not as like you don't have as much invested in Warframe, like in terms of like how many buttons you already have to use in Warframe, is that they have circle as their melee. Meaning, if I want to turn and attack something behind me, I can't turn the camera and melee at the same time because I have to use circle. So, which obviously this game was first ever made on PC, so they you use your fucking camera to turn around, so it's not a big deal. But obviously on controller using circle, while it's not a huge deal, because again, like I said, you can turn at any moment. It's a little annoying you can't kind of aim at the same time, so it'd be nice to be able to turn my camera. Yeah, I think so. One more frame. But then the only problem is, okay, so if you make it R1, then the question is, how do you use your abilities? Because the other thing, too, is, right, okay, so say you go to use your ability. Say we switch the abilities to D-pad, right? You can hit the D-pad up, down, left, right to activate an ability, and you press circle to use your ability, right? So, you aim your ability, circle. Yeah, go and hold the controller. So, right now, I'm pressing circle and I'm meleeing, which that feels good. I mean, it's not weird to hit a button to melee in a game. We do that all the time with action games, all the time. L1 to melee? Yeah. But, okay, then how do you slide? True, and slide is L1 in Warframe. Now the thing is, sliding and dodging is super, like, important in Warframe. Like, sliding is how you move around this map. Like, you don't run in Warframe, you slide. You slide in bullet jump at all times. The thing is, like, the reason why I didn't make, like, for example, they didn't make square or circle, dodge, or slide, is because bullet jumping is L1 and then jump, which is X. You could maybe do square and X, but that's just weird. It doesn't feel like it. In terms of Warframe, they need it to be L1 because they need that mobility. Which is one of the, I would say, the biggest key to Warframe, more than even melee itself. Because again, you can get over the fact that you just need to turn around real quick to melee and not be able to face your opponent directly with the camera. You cannot screw up your mobility in Warframe. That is a big no. Because that's usually how you die, is by fucking up your mobility. Yep. Oh, one other thing real quick I want to make mention to that animation that we were talking about from before. That's another thing that we can also increase with buffs and things like in the modifications mid-game. Like, you know, like when they find that, it can be like picking up the animation speeds. Because that's something that this game actually does, is there's a mod you can, there's like one of the card mods you can do, it's called Natural Talent, and it actually increases the animation speed of your abilities. So that's also something we can do as well. But people find that their abilities have long animations or whatever, it's something they can also
the first resource
purchase.
cache. I'm detecting
Or purchase
two
or
more
find
faint
along
hints.
the way. Like it's another modification / buff we can add to the game. That's all. Yeah, animation speed. Yeah. It can be one of the buffs that we do. It's just, I mean, I listed off a bunch of other buffs, but that is another one we could do. So, yep. I figured I'd just keep running around this tile set map while we're talking, rather than just going and doing more and more missions. Okay, so, yeah, so I would say for us, square, or, no, probably circle could be dodge, right? Yeah, so circle's dodge, or square dodge? No, circle's dodge, right? Yeah, circle's dodge. So circle's dodge. You have L1 for ability access, R1 for for melee, L2 to block, because you're usually not gonna have a gun. And then if for some reason we do like the hybrid will just not have a block, it'll only have a gun. It'll be like a straight, like, balls to the walls kind of character, where you have no block or no nothing, you can only dodge and shoot or melee. Yeah. Or maybe even up. Back then. They get a lot of firepower that way, so. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously that's very irrelevant. I mean, the GDD does have a control section, if that's what you were going to say. So, like, you can't put this in the control section. That's why I'm saying just put everything in notes, and we'll reorganize it another time, because we're going to talk about a lot of random shit right now that needs to get prioritized into different things. Yeah. Another thing I'll say, too, is that you should be able to dodge while in midair. So if you jump and then decide to dodge, you should be able to do it. Like I can do that in Warframe. Like you'll see me do it here in just a second. You'll see me dodge left, you'll see me dodge forward, you'll see me dodge backwards while I'm in midair. I think it's more, again, it's that it goes back to that concept of always in control of yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're midair trying to jump up on something or whatever, and someone's trying to shoot at you. It's that ability to be like, oh shit, someone's trying to shoot me, and I'm gonna roll. Or dodge roll, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You get the gist. So it's that always being in control, which is, again, the thing I think that makes Warframe the bread and butter of everything that it is. You always feel in control. Okay, so we talked about that, and we got some controls kind of down a bit. If we're shooting, it's just going to be standard shooter, and nothing crazy there. So the proposed for shooting is just going to be, I mean, what everything else is shooting. Like name a third-person shooter, and that's what it's going to be. Because all of them are the buttons. L2 to aim, R2 to shoot. L1's going to be our ability menu. R1. Well, no, because it's a range. So I don't even know what R1 would be. Triangle is parry. Is that something we also want to establish, the triangle is parry and everything? Okay. Right stick. Like click and right stick? Oh, I didn't even know that right stick does something in Warframe. I don't know. Some type of melee move.
You found a second cache. My readings indicate.
Oh, yeah, that's if your melee's out, it does something. Oh, just shows some ability. Cool. Yeah, for sure. X is jump. Click and left stick is sprint. No sliding in our games, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Well, and again, I don't think that really matches our game anyway. I think the sliding matches just because, let's be honest, it's the fucking ninjas that slide. Like, it matches our whole aesthetic. Our aesthetic is not ninjas. But, yeah, probably. Probably. Fire. Yeah. Actually, that's something that... Yeah, that's kind of what I was just thinking, like, name a game that you feel like, even when... Like, their abilities are always the same. So if R1 is going to be for melee, then R1 has got to be shooting. If R2 is going to be shooting, then R2's got to be melee. Yep. Yep. Yep, so that's fine. Yep. Maybe nothing. Or maybe R2 is parry. because it allows you to keep your hand on your stick. Because like that, because that's the big thing we need to think about. What buttons do we want people to still be on their right stick while using? No, parry's not necessarily one of them. I was just simply saying like we need to think about it that way too. Yeah, of course it will be, but I think we're good on the preliminary, like, yeah. I mean, nothing has to be done today. I mean, it's just a button. Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing. We don't have to use every button. It's totally. That was a creepy fucking sound. Sorry. Like a really creepy sound came over fucking Warframe, and I was a little like... I was like actually kind of looking around the house like, what was that noise? Sorry, go ahead. I'm exactly right. Yep. Yeah, and then if someone has a reason why they think it should go back to Circle, then, you know, we'll just talk about it. I mean, everyone knows that we're looking at Warframe right now, so... You know, and everyone's played it too. So, they can have their opinion on it. Yeah, it's already 12. Yeah, because the next thing I want to talk about is level layout like I did with Johnny, with you. So. I think there will be more. I can't think of off the top of my head. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about like Warframe's loadout screens and such, or not loadout screens, but like their hub, I guess you would say, like how they do their hub, how they do their loadouts, like their character loadouts. Not that we're gonna specifically have a whole bunch of character loadout stuff, because I'll just, yeah, exactly. So we have some idea on how we want to do it. That may be something to look at. Cool, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll chat, what, wait, not, well, you just want to do it tomorrow after the,